Hi everybody, welcome. The framing just got finished on my addition today, so I was going to run through a homeowner's guide to roofing. So this video will set up the fundamentals of roofing as you would need to know them, and hopefully we'll end up with a leak-proof and nice looking roof. So enjoy. It's 168 square feet about of addition that's been added on. You can see it's a very simple slope, not very steep at all. So this is going to be a pretty simple roof job. The biggest parts, and I'll show them when I get there, will be flashing into the existing roof and covering that transition point, and just making sure everything is done properly. But first step, as I previously alluded, will be to get the drip edge on, then we'll get the paper on, and then we'll roof. I'm still waiting for some protrusions to be made, so this video will probably span a couple days as I do this. The first thing you put down is going to be your flashing or your drip edge along the slope side specifically. So I wanted to point out this detail, that the drip edge on the eave side overhangs the drip edge on the bottom side. So any rain that hits this edge is going to run hopefully down here and over and out, rather than under and potentially rotting out your corner here. All right, so I got my first piece of trim down, or drip edge I mean. So the next thing that's critical is always starting at the bottom and then overlap. See, so this piece is overlapping the one above so that any rain drops flow down the drip edge rather than underneath. And I had to trim this one a little bit so it will fit the slope of the roof. Good morning, everyone. So I'm back. After the drip edge is put on, the next step is putting on the underlayment. Notice the button nails here. The reason to use these things is they work better than staples in terms of holding on. So once these nails are put on, I can walk on this portion and it's much safer. Staples will hold it down, however, they tend to pull out and rip and tear and so forth. So I'm just going to continue putting the underlayment up till we get to the transition point, and then we'll see our next steps. All right, I've gone as far as I can go with the standard underlayment, and I've gone about as far as I can go with the shingling. I'm waiting for a protrusion about approximately there, and I'm waiting for one approximately about where that corner is on the other side. So it doesn't make any sense to go any further because I would just have to tear those sections off and redo them, which is difficult. So when it comes to shingling, I'm going to show you a couple things. These are a couple pre-cut starters that I made. There's 3 of them here. Getting a little worn, so they want to stick. If you have any questions about how to do this, it's all conveniently on the package here. So you can see the first course you want to cut 6.5 inches off. The second course you want to cut 13. Then you want 19.5, which is a half a shingle, and then you use those residual cuts on the next couple courses. So, and then you start with a full one again. So The nailing schedule and everything is all on the back of here. Every bundle of shingles I've seen, even though I haven't seen a ton of them, has those kinds of instructions on there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unroll this flashing here and try to tuck it up under the existing shingles before I put my last course of underlayment. We're not expecting rain for about 4 or 5 days, but I want to hedge my bets just in case the protrusions don't get made and I can't finish what I'm trying to do here. So try to get it as waterproof as possible. Hey, good morning everybody. Back on the roof again. I'm going to show you my first real mistake here. Okay, so you can see I've removed the drip edge. One of the things that I needed to do in order of operations was set this step flashing in and put the drip edge over top of it. So the way you do that is you cut along the line. You want to stick the step flashing, and then you put in one course. I terminated this a little short, but this one you put in one course that runs from underneath the upper shingles, and so you do that starting at the bottom all the way to the top. And the reason that I want to do that is because when the drip edge sits over, hopefully any water that runs down will run over the edge of this and then hit that barrier. So I'm working on that. I'm going to finish this flashing detail here. I'll call it a valley type flashing, and I want that to wrap over the edge of this, so anything that rolls down hopefully hits this step flashing and continues down rather than possibly getting behind here. So all right, so I finished the flashing detail. You can see the drip edge now hangs over the step flashing, and then the valley flashing hangs over the drip edge. And so the hope is then going to be that water flows down here and stays on the outside of this building. I intend to, when I shingle up probably past this line, but I don't know if they're actually going to meet or not, so I may end up with another level of flashing, ridge flashing if you will, and that may be I'm intending to sort of go to this line, I think, so I may pull it way out to here even when I do it, but I'll learn more as I sort of get there. Okay. All right, so a little bit of progress since this morning. Got the skylight in, and we got shingling up to the vent pipes, and we got the boots on the vents. So I wanted to talk about proper shingling around the boots for a minute. You can look at how we did the skylight here, and one thing, you want your plastic housing or metal housing or whatever to sort of hang over an existing row of shingles, but then this row and this row, they all lay on top of it, so that way the water is going to roll off. So here's an example here where I'm just getting ready to get started with it, and the boot is hanging on to the finished course, so there'll be a little bit of exposure here. Then I will shingle around it. One other thing, so right here there's a hole. This is where I'm going to put the roof vent, so I'm going to have to cut this square that's here, and next video you'll see maybe we'll be done with most of it anyway. Okay, bye. 2 years later, here's the finished product. You'll see that I did put an extra piece of flashing to extend beyond the new addition. Now, normally that would get weaved together when you do a new roof. This is an addition without without putting a whole new roof on. But anyway, that's what it looks like. I can see there's a little bit of bubbling right there for some reason. And I did have one leak about a year ago. It was in that boot right there. You can see they stretch tight over the pipes, and they're multi-sized, so they're meant to fit different sized pipes. And it was a tight squeeze because I think this was for 1 1/4 or 1 3/4, and it was like 1 1/2. But good news is you can buy a replacement cover for it, and you can kind of see it. It just looks like it sits right on top of the boot, and that stopped the leak. So here's the finished product.